What if I told you Toyota just built an electric SUV that's faster than its rivals, more powerful than a Tesla Model Y base model, and still looks like a Toyota? Meet the 2026 CHR EV. Toyota has always been the brand that plays it safe. They perfected the hybrid, they built the most reliable cars on the planet, and for years they let other automakers take the electric vehicle risks while they watched from the sidelines. But something is different in 2026. Something has shifted. Because the car I'm talking about today isn't cautious, it isn't slow, and it absolutely is not boring. This is the 2026 Toyota CHR EV. A car that started its life as a quirky little gas-powered crossover with an identity crisis and has returned as a full-on electric machine, with 338 horsepower, all-wheel drive, a 0 to 60 time of under 5 seconds, and styling that will genuinely stop people on the street. Toyota didn't just electrify the CHR, they completely transformed it. And today we are going to break down every single angle of this car. The design, the performance, what it's like inside, how it charges, how it stacks up against the competition, the price, and whether this is the electric Toyota that American buyers have actually been waiting for. Let's get into it. To really appreciate how remarkable the new CHR is, you have to know where it came from. The original Toyota CHR, which stood for Coupe High Rider, launched in the US back in 2018. It was a bold little crossover with genuinely wild styling, the kind of car that turned heads purely because it looked so different from everything else on the road. But underneath that head-turning exterior was a pretty disappointing reality. It ran on a naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine that Consumer Reports once described as having abnormally slow acceleration, with a 0 to 60 time of over 11 seconds. 11 seconds. That's slower than a fully loaded pickup truck. It had no all-wheel drive option at all, the interior was filled with hard plastics, and the coupe-like roofline killed rear visibility so badly that parking it felt like a guessing game. Toyota eventually discontinued it in the US in 2022. Most people didn't notice it was gone. Fast forward to 2026, and Toyota has done something genuinely remarkable. They've brought the CHR back, but this time it's all electric, all-wheel drive, and faster than a Porsche 911 from a decade ago. That 11-second 0 to 60 time, Toyota has cut it to 4.9 seconds. That's not an improvement, that's a transformation. Let's start on the outside, because the CHR has always been a design-first vehicle, and the new generation does not disappoint. The 2026 model is built around what Toyota calls a wide, athletic coupe-like profile, and when you see it in person, that description really does hold up. The car sits lower and wider than you'd expect from a compact crossover, giving it a planted, sporty stance that makes most of its competitors look upright and boring by comparison. Toyota's signature hammerhead front end dominates the nose, with wide horizontal daytime running lights framing a sharp, angular face. The body panels are sculpted with flowing creases that give the car a sense of motion even when it's standing still. The roofline slopes dramatically toward the rear in the classic coupe crossover fashion, and the C-pillar has a distinctive blacked-out treatment that makes the roof look like it's floating. Out back, the angular tail treatment ties the whole design together with sharp lines that echo the sportiness of the front. One of the clever engineering decisions Toyota made is placing the 74.7 kilowatt-hour battery pack flat under the floor. This does two things simultaneously. It lowers the center of gravity significantly, making the car feel more stable and planted in corners, and it frees up interior space by eliminating the need for a central transmission tunnel running through the cabin. The car is also 5 inches longer and about 2 inches wider than the original CHR, which goes a long way in giving it a more substantial, premium road presence. Low-profile roof rails are standard, rain-sensing wipers come on both trims, and a power liftgate makes loading the cargo area genuinely convenient. This is a car designed to look desirable from every angle, and by most accounts, it succeeds. Now here is where things get genuinely exciting, because the 2026 Toyota CHR EV is not messing around in the performance department. Every single CHR, both the SE and the XSE, comes standard with a dual-motor all-wheel drive powertrain. There's no front-wheel drive option, no base single-motor version. Every buyer gets the full setup, an electric motor on the front axle and a second motor on the rear axle, delivering 338 combined system horsepower and 323 pound-feet of torque. Toyota claims a 0 to 60 time of 4.9 seconds, though several independent testers have suggested the real-world number might actually be slightly quicker than that. Either way, you're talking about a compact crossover that's legitimately fast by any standard. Not fast for a Toyota, not fast for an EV, just fast, full stop. That figure gives the CHR more horsepower than any direct competitor by a significant margin. The Hyundai Ioniq 5 in standard form makes 225 horsepower. The Volkswagen ID.4 starts at 201. The Nissan Ariya sits at 238. The CHR blows past all of them with 338. Because the battery sits flat under the floor, the center of gravity is remarkably low for a crossover, which means the car corners better than you'd expect and feels far more planted than its tallish roofline might suggest. The steering is reportedly precise and communicative, giving drivers a genuine sense of connection to the road that's often missing in electric crossovers that lean more toward comfort than engagement. One of the more thoughtful performance features is the paddle shift regenerative braking. Using paddles on the steering wheel, drivers can select from 4 different levels of regenerative braking intensity. At the highest setting, you get significant one-pedal driving capability, meaning the car slows itself down enough from the regen alone that you rarely need to touch the brake pedal. At the lowest setting, the car coasts more freely, which can actually extend range on long highway stretches where you're not doing a lot of speed changes. Having that level of driver control over energy recovery is something you typically see on more expensive EVs, and Toyota has made it standard across the entire CHR lineup. Range anxiety is the #1 concern that keeps people from switching to electric vehicles, so let's address it head-on. The 2026 Toyota CHR EV SE with 18-inch wheels is EPA-rated at 287 miles of range on a full charge. The XSE with its larger 20-inch wheels comes in at 273 miles. Both numbers are more than sufficient for the vast majority of American daily driving patterns. The average American drives about 37 miles a day, meaning most CHR owners would only need to charge the car once or twice a week under normal circumstances. On road trips, the charging story is equally solid. The CHR uses the NACS port. That's the same Tesla-style connector that has now become the industry standard in North America, giving owners access to the enormous Tesla Supercharger network as well as most other major public charging networks across the country. Using a DC fast charger, the CHR can charge from 10% to 80% in approximately 30 minutes. That means a quick lunch stop or a coffee break is essentially all you need to add meaningful range on a longer drive. For home charging, the CHR has an 11 kilowatt onboard AC charger, which is on the faster side for level 2 home charging. Plug it in overnight and you'll wake up to a full battery every single morning. Toyota also includes a 3-year trial of their Remote Connect service, which lets you check charging status, start or stop charging, and schedule charging sessions right from your phone. You can also precondition the cabin, warming it up in winter or cooling it down in summer while the car is still plugged in, which preserves battery range for driving. It's the kind of feature that owners quickly realize they can't live without, especially during a cold Midwestern or Northeastern winter. Step inside the 2026 Toyota CHR EV and you'll immediately notice that Toyota has made significant strides in cabin quality compared to the original model. The interior is designed around a driver-focused cockpit philosophy, with soft touch materials on all the major touch points, customizable ambient lighting that lets you set the mood of the cabin, and a premium feel that holds up well against more expensive rivals. The centerpiece of the interior is a 14-inch touchscreen running Toyota's audio multimedia system. The screen is crisp, responsive, and intuitive to navigate, a significant improvement over the sluggish infotainment systems Toyota used to ship a few years ago. The system supports wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto as standard, so you never have to fish around for a cable. A fully digital gauge cluster sits directly in front of the driver, showing key information like speed, range, and navigation in a clean, readable layout. Two wireless smartphone charging pads sit in the center console, one for the driver and one for the passenger, and rear passengers get USB-C ports to keep their devices charged on longer trips. The audio options are genuinely impressive for this price class. Standard equipment includes a 6-speaker audio system that's perfectly adequate for everyday listening, but buyers who want more can optionally upgrade to a JBL premium audio system, featuring 9 speakers, a dedicated 9-inch subwoofer, and an 800-watt amplifier. That's a serious audio setup that would hold its own in vehicles costing significantly more. Toyota's connected services platform called Drive Connect comes with a 3-year trial on every CHR. It includes an intelligent assistant that wakes up with a simple "Hey Toyota" voice command and can handle navigation searches, audio controls, temperature adjustments, and points of interest searches using Google data. Cloud navigation pulls live traffic and routing information rather than relying on outdated preloaded maps. The XSE trim adds several notable upgrades over the base SE. You get soft-tech synthetic leather and suede trim seats, a panoramic view monitor that gives you a bird's-eye camera view for parking, a digital rear-view mirror that displays a wide-angle camera feed rather than relying on the traditional mirror, enhanced lane change assist, and the option to add a panoramic sunroof that floods the cabin with natural light. Front seat passengers on the XSE also get ventilated seats with memory function in addition to the heated seats that are standard on both trims. Rear passengers have their own rear cabin air conditioning controls, which is something parents of young children will genuinely appreciate on hot summer days. The CHR's coupe-like roofline is undeniably stunning, but it does come with a practical trade-off. The sloping rear roof means rear headroom is tighter than in more upright crossovers, and taller passengers in the back seat may find the low ceiling somewhat claustrophobic on longer journeys. That's a fair criticism and worth knowing before you buy. However, cargo space tells a more encouraging story. Behind the rear seats, you get 25.3 cubic feet of cargo space, competitive for the segment and enough to handle weekly grocery runs, a couple of pieces of carry-on luggage, or sports equipment for a weekend trip. Fold the rear seats flat using the 60-40 configuration, and that number expands dramatically to 59.5 cubic feet. That's a substantial amount of space that rivals many larger SUVs, making the CHR more capable as a practical hauler than its sporty profile might initially suggest. A power liftgate comes standard, meaning you can open the rear hatch without using your hands, useful when your arms are full of shopping bags. The underfloor battery placement means there's no intrusive tunnel running through the cabin, which helps maximize usable interior width at both the front and rear seating positions. Toyota has always taken safety seriously, and the 2026 CHR EV is no exception. Every trim level comes equipped with Toyota Safety Sense 3.0 as standard equipment. This is one of the most comprehensive driver assistance suites in the industry, and it comes at no extra cost. The system includes pre-collision braking that can detect pedestrians, cyclists, and oncoming vehicles, adaptive cruise control that maintains a set following distance automatically, lane centering assist that actively keeps the car centered in its lane, road sign recognition that reads speed limit signs and displays them on the instrument cluster, and blind spot monitoring with rear cross-traffic alert. The XSE adds a panoramic view monitor for low-speed maneuvering and enhanced lane change assist that actively monitors adjacent lanes when you signal a lane change. Toyota's Star Safety System is standard as well, bundling vehicle stability control, traction control, anti-lock brakes, and electronic brake force distribution into a single integrated package. For a car that's going to be used by a wide range of American families, the breadth of standard safety technology here is genuinely impressive. Here's where the conversation gets a little complicated. Toyota originally positioned the CHR as a vehicle that would start around $30,000, making it one of the most affordable EVs in America. What we actually got is a starting price of $37,000 before destination, or $38,450 once you add the $1,450 destination fee. The XSE comes in at $40,450 all in. For a subcompact crossover, that's not a budget price, but Toyota's argument is compelling. Every single CHR includes standard all-wheel drive, 338 horsepower, and nearly 290 miles of range. When you compare it to AWD versions of its rivals, the value picture gets considerably better. The Hyundai Ioniq 5 AWD starts higher, the Volkswagen ID.4 AWD costs more, the Nissan Ariya AWD is in the same ballpark but delivers less power. The CHR is meaningfully more powerful than all of them and comparably priced on an apples-to-apples basis. There's also an important incentive story developing. Toyota has already introduced a $5,000 cash discount for buyers who pay cash, bringing the effective starting price down to $33,450. 0% financing for up to 72 months is available through Toyota Financial Services, which dramatically lowers the monthly payment compared to a standard interest-bearing loan. At 0% APR over 72 months, the monthly payment on the SE trim works out to roughly $485, genuinely reasonable for a vehicle with this level of performance and technology. The CHR also sits in an interesting position within Toyota's own EV lineup. It's larger and more expensive than the base BZ4X, but sportier and more driver-focused. The BZ4X Woodland sits above it with more cargo space and rugged capability. The CHR carves out a clear niche as the performance-focused option in the family, the one for buyers who want a Toyota EV that's genuinely fun to drive. So, is the 2026 CHR EV worth your attention? The short answer is yes, absolutely. This car represents a genuine turning point for Toyota in the EV space. For years, the criticism of Toyota's electric vehicles was that they were too conservative, too slow, and too late. The CHR blows up every single one of those criticisms. It's quick, it looks incredible, it's loaded with technology, it has real-world range that removes anxiety from daily driving, and it comes from one of the most trusted automotive brands in America. The all-wheel drive is standard. The horsepower advantage over every direct competitor is significant. The charging network access via NACS is as good as it gets in North America right now. Yes, it costs more than Toyota originally hinted. Yes, the coupe roofline limits rear headroom. Yes, a budget single-motor option would make it even more appealing to a wider audience. But if you're shopping for a compact electric SUV that brings genuine excitement to go along with all the practical, real-world capability you need, the 2026 CHR EV deserves to be at the very top of your list. Toyota waited a long time to build an EV that can make people feel something. With the CHR, they've finally done it. If you're in the market, get to a Toyota dealership in March 2026 when these start arriving, because based on everything we know, these are going to move fast. If you found this helpful, hit that like button, leave a comment telling me whether you'd pick the CHR over the Tesla Model Y or the Hyundai Ioniq 5, and subscribe so you don't miss our first drive review when we get behind the wheel. See you in the next one.